What does it cost to live in the Rapid City area? 2023 version. Hey everybody, it's Tristan Emond with Mindful Living Realty, a realtor right here in Rapid City, South Dakota, the gateway to the Black Hills. So I did a cost of living video back in 2020. And of course, things are a little different now. So it only made sense to do an updated 2023 version of the cost of living in Rapid City, South Dakota. Let's start off with housing. Gotta have a place to live in Rapid City. Let's talk about how expensive it can be. To give you a little history lesson and kind of give you a feel for where things have gone, back in 2010, the median home sale price was $160,000. In 2019, that median price, $235,000. So that's probably about where I was talking when I did my video in 2020. In 2022, the median home sale price in the Rapid City area was $344,000. Home values have gone up about 30% in the past couple years in our area. So while it used to be that $200,000, $250,000 was a decent price to be able to get at least rise into something, now that's kind of the bottom of the barrel where you get something that probably needs a little bit of work and you might not even be able to finance it because of the work that needs to be done that can't get completed. I just had a set of buyers in town looking at the $250,000 maximum range. They went looking at the neighborhoods before I even got to showing them the properties. And they decided they wanted to go up a step. Even between that $250,000 and $300,000 mark is a huge difference on what you can expect in prices in the Rapid City area. If you're looking for kind of a standard 2,000 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, maybe a single car garage, maybe a double car garage, probably should bring at least $300,000 to the table to begin with and go up from there. And that's gonna be pretty basic. None of this granite countertops and crown molding, this kind of stuff. And if you're looking for a house with acreage and space, that gets even a little more spendy. As you get into the Black Hills, anytime you add Black Hills on top of anything, that just increases the price. So you better have probably $450,000, $500,000 to start with if you're looking for acreage around the Rapid City area. That's kind of the dream. I want some acreage, but still close enough to Rapid City to get all the services. All right, so let's talk about rentals. Let's start off with the apartment buildings. Now, fortunately, there are a number of new apartment buildings that have been completed and have been getting filled up. But the problem with those are you're paying new construction rental prices. 2-bedroom, 2-bath is about 1,000 square feet, but you can expect to spend about $1,600 a month on that type of property. But if you're looking at some of the older apartment buildings, the ones that are built in the 80s and 90s, they'll be a little bit cheaper. You get a small 1-bedroom, 1-bath studio apartment for about $800 a month, and a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, about 1,200 square feet. That'll be about $1,200 to $1,300 for that older style apartment. Now, each one of these apartment complexes, they each have their own amenities, they each have their own services, they each have their own rules about dogs and pets and cats. So you got to make sure you talk with them individually to figure out what's part of the deal and what you can live with. Now, if you're looking for a single family home to rent, there's not very many of those available, and the prices, they're not that much cheaper either. A small 1-bedroom, 1-bath, about $800 a month. A smaller 1,400 square foot 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, you can expect to spend around $1,500 a month for that. And as you get into 4 bedrooms and over 2,000 square feet, you're going to spend at least $2,000 up to $2,500 a month for those properties. Now, a while ago, I might have said, yeah, it's cheaper to buy a house than it is to rent a house. But with the interest rates they are right now, that might not be the case. So make sure you talk with a lender to figure out, well, what kind of a house can I afford? But then also look at, well, how much am I comfortable with spending? Sometimes those new numbers aren't the same. All right, time to talk about everybody's favorite subject, and that would be taxes.
Taxes! Taxes! Beautiful, lovely taxes!
Now, of course, we're going to start out with the good stuff. No state income tax, no corporate income tax, and there'll be no taxes on your pensions and your retirement accounts. But just because we don't have any state income tax doesn't mean we don't get taxed. First of all, there is sales tax. There's a 4.5% sales tax on everything. I don't care if it's a service, it's a good, if it's a prepared food. I know other states have no tax on clothing and food items. No matter what it is, you get a 4.5% South Dakota sales tax on everything. And then most cities have their own city tax, which is generally about 2%. So Rapid City, you buy something, you're paying 6.5% on sales tax on everything that you purchase. And there's even a 1% tourist tax on things like motels, some of the restaurants, etc., because we love our tourists so much. And finally, we'll talk about those property taxes. No, they aren't cheap. On a review of the 50 states in the nation, South Dakota comes in number 35 on property taxes, where number 1 is the cheapest and number 50 is the most expensive. So yes, we're not number 50, but we sure ain't number 1 either. You can expect to spend about 1.1 to 1.3% of your property value on your taxes. So that median sale price of $345,000, that tax bill is $4,485 per year, which 4485 divided by 12 is $373 per month. The next thing that's going to get you is insurance in the state of South Dakota. We have hail. When you have hail, you have lots of replacement. We have lots of replacement. What happens to insurance rates? They go up. According to this site, bankrate.com, South Dakota's average home insurance rate is $2,105. That average monthly payment is $175, which comes out to 3.5% of median incomes. Now that's not as bad as Oklahoma's $3,700, but it's a huge difference from Oregon's $723. And while we're on the topic of insurance, let's talk about your car insurance. In the state of South Dakota, the average full coverage is about $1,500, and the average minimum coverage is about $275 a year. Fortunately, on this chart, we're actually kind of one of the lower ones instead of being one of the higher ones. Maine's got us beat at $941 average full coverage, but for some reason, Michigan is at $2,700 a year average full coverage. All right, we got a place, we got insurance in the place. Now it's time to talk about what it's going to take to heat and cool and, get water to it. Time for some utilities talk. Fortunately, South Dakota is in the top 10 for the lowest cost of electricity in the nation. In January 2023, that number was 11.25 cents per kilowatt, which is considerably below the US average of 15.47 and a whole lot cheaper than Hawaii's 45 cents per kilowatt hour. We're also in the top 10 cheapest space for natural gas. The January 2023 rate was 11.19, and that's dollars per thousand cubic feet. Idaho is the cheapest at 8.89, and New Hampshire wins the most expensive in the continental USA at 23.85. Within Rapid City, the city of Rapid City handles your water, sewer, and garbage. That usually comes out to be about $100 per month for those services. And that's pretty typical for other communities outside of Rapid City with their own water, sewer, and garbage services. It's also about $100 per month. So in your average 2,000 square foot home, you could probably plan to spend about $300 to $350 a month on utilities, depending on how hot you keep it, how cold you keep it, etc., etc. And then, of course, you gotta have internet, right? The two main broadband internet providers in town are Midco and Blue Peak. They both have just internet services and cable and TV phone packages as well. But let's just get into the internet services. They have speeds as low as 250 megabytes per second, up to a gig, even up to 2 gig. You can expect to spend about $50 per month for the lower services and 150, maybe even 200 for the faster speeds. Time to fuel up. A number of years ago, we just had the Big D's and the Conocos that were kind of owned by the same group, so didn't have a whole lot of difference in price points as far as gas prices. But Holiday moved in a couple years ago, as well as Marathon, to kind of give a little bit of competition, but prices are pretty much the same across the board. All right, it's time to go grocery shopping. So a number of different grocery options in Rapid City. Safeway is a bit more, maybe top end, a little more expensive. We got Family Fare, which is a regional grocery store, and like Walmart for maybe a little bit cheaper options for grocery shopping. So, yeah, let's go in and check out the prices. Ooh, gotta have your bacon. Oreos are important. Oreos. Ice cream time.
Some of the best Rapid City restaurants are downtown. Now, of course, you can always get your burger basket of McDonald's and Culver's for about $11, $12 a meal. But you also got Kite Pasta or Firehouse Brewing Company, where you can get a burger or an entree for between $12 and $20. Or check out Tally's evening menu or Delmonico Grill for a more exquisite taste for closer to $30 per meal. And of course, don't forget Dakota's Takeout out at 260 if you want a really good steak for probably above the $30 range. Of course, you can never go wrong with some Chinese food. We have the Golden Phoenix here, to $15 per entree. Pizza. You know, there's always the Little Caesar, $6, take and run with it. Or $11 here at Blaze Pizza, which we really enjoy. Or check out Independent Ale House downtown, $11 to $13, maybe even $15 for some of their specialty pizzas. Rapid City has some great coffee locations. Whether you're talking Starbucks or Dunn Brothers behind me here, or Pure Bean or some local great coffee spaces in Rapid City, you get like a 16-ounce cappuccino or a frappuccino for between $5 and $6. Or for you fellow Americano enthusiasts that you like it strong and black, that's about $3. And of course, we gotta talk about the breweries. There's a number of great breweries in town serving their own local stuff, such as Hay Camp back here. You can get some light beer for around $4 a glass, some nicer, darker local beer for $5 to $6, even up to $8 per glass. There's some of the really cool stuff. What about entertainment? At the Monument Civic Center, you can go to concerts for starting around $70, depending, of course, on the artist and the concert. And then there are the shows like this home show and the sports show and the stock show that you can get in and check it out for under $10 a person. Plus, at other locations, you can enjoy the Black Hill Symphony, which is anywhere from $22 to $32 a ticket, and Seraphim Theaters, which is a lot of fun local plays from $20 a ticket. What about fun in Rapid City? You can go into the rec center behind me for about $7 a day or $110 for a quarter. It has a zero entry pool, hot tub, lazy river, a lot of fun things here at the rec center. You can also go to Waitiki Water Park on the east side of town all day, slide on the slides for about $30. Plus, there's a locals discount. And since you're in the Black Hills, you want to make sure that you get a Black Hills National Forest Pass so that you don't have to worry about getting a pass for all the little parking areas. That's $40 for the year, and you probably want to get a South Dakota State Parks as well to get into Custer State Park and Angostura State Park, and that's $36 per year. It's time to go to the movies. You can go to the Golden Ticket Cinemas behind me with the recliner seats and the food options for $16 for a primetime ticket. The matinees are about $9, plus they have got a Tuesday option that's usually about $5 to $6. You can also go to the AMC Classic across the street. That's $9 for a prime time, $6 for a matinee, and also they have a Tuesday night special. You can also go to the Elks Theater, downtown Rapid City. You play those movies that aren't new but aren't quite old for about $5 a ticket.
All right, let's talk about daycare a little bit. Now, my kids are old. We never had to use daycare, so I'm just relying on the information that I've been able to find online. According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the median South Dakota family spent an average of 7% on healthcare services, which came out to about $5,000 a year. For the younger age children of 0 to 5, that number jumps up to 11%, or about $7,500 per year for childcare services. Finally, let's talk about healthcare. Now, Rapid City is a huge medical community because of the fact that we have everybody coming from 200 miles to the Rapid City area. Unfortunately, because of that, that creates little competition. What happens when you don't have any competition? Prices rise up a little bit. Now, you do have a number of different options for your medical treatments in Rapid City, and I'll put that video up here where I talked about those medical options. Generally, what you notice is that Rapid City has a higher than average price point for healthcare. But to find out how much different it is in your area, go to Google and type in cost of living calculator. And there you can get a feel for how far your dollar will go in Rapid City versus the city you're coming from, and it even talks about the healthcare industry. So let's jump on the computer and take a look at it. So I'm on this bank rate one, so we're gonna go from Denver, because I can't type, and because it's a Midwest city, and that just kind of makes sense. It's a big Midwest city. Rapid City, South Dakota. Okay, refresh, and we can see at $50,000, it's 15% lower to live in Rapid City. But look at this, some of the groceries are a little more expensive. I assume because it's going to take longer to get here, so there's more travel cost in that. Housing costs are considerably less. But look at this healthcare. So a dentist visit, a prescription drug is less. But you look at this, you go a doctor visit, that's 5% higher than Denver, and 24% to the optometrist. Now let's go to a smaller U.S. city and see what that's like. Des Moines, Iowa to Rapid City. Look, cost of living is 8% higher in Rapid City than Des Moines, Iowa. So let's go down here to healthcare to see where that comes into play. Yeah, food is still a little more expensive. Housing, here's where the big point is, the housing, utilities are higher. So yeah, your healthcare, doctor visit might be cheaper, but everything else is a little more expensive. So those cost of living calculators is a great tool to look at the cost of living in your area versus Rapid City and what you can kind of expect moving to the area. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch this video here about the medical community that I mentioned earlier and this playlist. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day. And remember, love where you live.